Hello, and welcome to Adventures in TV Land. For today's adventure, I've come to the Weldon Spring Interpretive Center here in Missouri. Now, the Weldon Spring site was originally right before the United States entered World War II. The U.S. government purchased 3 towns here in this area of Missouri, St. Charles County, and they built a huge TNT plant. And I mean, three towns were wiped off the face of the earth: Hamburg, Howe, and Tunerville. And this place, throughout World War II, produced TNT and DNT. Now, after the World War II, it was shut down, but then it later reopened, and it was an uranium refining production facility during the Cold War. Eventually, that closed again as tensions lowered during the Cold War, and the need, apparently, for nuclear energy was not as great as was what one time thought would be needed. And so then after that, the site, was closed, and it eventually became one of the sites of one of the largest Superfund sites in the United States. I believe it was in roughly around 1986 or so they started the cleanup process here, and it was not finished until 2001. Now, I was last here. One of my earliest videos was done here. It was in the before times, before the pandemic, and they had a different interpretive center. So in the time since then, time of this recording, it is 2023, February 2023. A new center is up, and we're going to go check it out. All right, these yellow tubes that you see here, those are actually groundwater monitoring stations. All right, this is what you see when you first walk in. Welcome to the Weldon Spring site. On the floor here, they have a map of the area. Now, that yellow spot kind of there in the center is all the area that the U.S. government took control of. And then the green part is the town where the 3 towns were at and where this site is at. This display talks about the heating conflict that led up to World War II. And many of the people here in these towns, they were actually at a dance hall, and that's when they heard the news that their towns were going to be bought by the federal government and were no longer going to exist. Here they have it's kind of a scrapbook of those 3 towns: Hamburg, Howe, and Tunerville. Got some photographs and other items here you can look at. This is going in talking about World War II and the U.S. build up to that fight. The birth of the atomic age. Talking about the dropping of the nuclear bomb and the Manhattan Project. There's actually a little video here you can watch about that. Here, the dawn of the nuclear age. Oppenheimer's coming out in summer 2023. So finally, World War II comes to a close, and the Weldon Spring site was declared surplus. Now, here are some items that were used in Weldon Spring. Most of the bottles were glass, but some were made from beeswax because they weren't as corrosive. A lot of milk bottles were used for containers. One in the picture has TNT in it. The glass here the Weldon Spring. It was a special type of glass with a blue-green color. Here are some various tools and items that were found laying around. And here is a uniform with a hat. There's a protective mask and some glasses and some various pipes. The pipes were all specially made here, including this pipe. This is a wooden pipe in which a lot of the contaminated water and everything was pumped out. And then the Cold War began, so this is kind of following historically here, and the nuclear arms race, the buildup of the nuclear weapons, mainly between the United States and the Soviet Union. And uranium was a big part of that. Uranium was mined all throughout the western part of the U.S. and it was sent to sampling plants where it was refined from yellow to orange to brown to green. And then those samples were sent elsewhere to be put into weapons. Here are various Geiger counters from over the years to detect the radiation. As you go down the shelves here, you can see how the Geiger counters changed over time. Here's just some various instruments that were left behind in the Weldon Spring site. The areas that were used during the time it was used to refine uranium. Here are the security badges of two individuals, Everett Powers and Julius Ivan Klott. This is showing how uranium is turned into basically weaponized. It's a very heavy metal, heaviest on the periodic table. More about this, about the uranium being turned into the bomb. And this is just showing how the Cold War eventually came to a close. This is the rise of the environmentalism in the United States and the start of the Superfund program in the late 70s, early 1980s. And the Weldon Spring site was reestablished and turned part of it into Howell Prairie, where you can see some of these various animals. There's a rabbit and a toad and a meadowlark and a prairie king snake. This display shows the flow of groundwater and how that kind of sampling is done to test groundwater. Little display here about radiation. Radiation actually is a natural thing that comes from the sun. This is about the remedial investigation of the site and how they went about cleaning it up. This is about the disposal cell. Now, if you look out the window here, there is the disposal cell. You can actually walk on that, which we will do here in a short bit. And there is a sample of what it is made out of. You can see the various layers of the rocks, the smaller rocks, the various other sand and soils, the foam, finally the waste, and then below the waste there's various other layers all the way down until that sheet of plastic lining there. Production, caretaker, remediation, present. That is the history of the Weldon Spring site. Now here we have two skulls. On the left is a hawk. On the right is an owl. Woo woo! Now I was inside the Interpretive Center, and I didn't realize it. I knew this was kind of unique here, but as of right now, this is the only disposal cell in the United States that you can actually walk up and walk around. And so that is what we are going to do. We're going to attempt to climb the stairs to the top of the disposal cell. It's rather windy up here and getting cooler, so I put my hat back on. And there are several markers up here, placards talking about various things. This one is talking about the lost towns of Howell, Hamburg, and Tunerville. This placard is talking about the cleanup process, well, the history of kind of this facility and the cleanup process. This placard just kind of talks about, illustrates what this disposal cell is actually constructed of. And here's another, the last of the placards. It is talking about the communities that have grown up around this area after the time. And, you know, some of them were around beforehand, but I mean, they've grown hugely in population in the past 15, 20 years. We're going to go for a 360 view here. So you can just kind of see things around here. Go. This is just a view of the Interpretive Center here from the top of the disposal cell. Gotta say, it's a very impressive looking building and structure. They've done a really great job with some of the displays. There's some new displays that are supposed to be coming later this year to further tell the story of the people that worked here and that lived here beforehand. So, but if you're in this area at all, highly recommend it. Come check it out. Alright, so that's a view from the top of the disposal cell. And I believe I'm going to end this video now here at the Weldon Spring Interpretive Site. The only place I'm aware of in the United States that you can actually walk up and around nuclear waste as safely as a person possibly can. This has been another adventure in TV land. If you've liked this video, hit that like button. If you disliked, hit the dislike button. Subscribe to my channel for further content and ring that bell for email notifications. And if there's some place that you'd like to see me visit, or you have a suggestion about some future video you'd like to see me do, leave a comment in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this adventure, or any of the adventures in TV land, you can help support this channel by going to either Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon and making a donation, or becoming a member at either one of those two places. Thank you for watching. Until next time, that's a wrap.